In the early 1970s, popular culture and police profiling shared a specific vision of a predator. They looked for a menacing outsider, a disheveled figure lurking in a dark alleyway or a dangerous neighborhood. Theodore Robert Bundy presented a profile that law enforcement was largely unprepared to process. He was a psychology student at the University of Washington, a bright and personable figure who moved through these idyllic campus environments with ease. He was active in Republican politics and maintained the outward markers of a successful, educated young man. During this period, he even worked at a Seattle crisis hotline, answering calls from the suicidal alongside future crime writer Ann Rule. To those who knew him, he was a protector of the community, even as he was beginning to abduct and murder dozens of young women. Bundy recognized that society relied on superficial traits, like a college degree or a suit, to assign trust. By adopting these middle-class signifiers, he transformed himself into an invisible predator who operated in the center of the community rather than on its fringes. His confirmed killing spree began in the Pacific Northwest in 1974, targeting young women on college campuses in Washington and Oregon. To bridge the gap between himself and his targets, he exploited the natural human impulse to help those in need. He feigned physical disability by wearing a fake plaster cast or a medical sling. This performance allowed him to approach women in broad daylight. Using an articulate, polite demeanor, he would ask for assistance with mundane tasks, such as carrying books or loading items into his car. He leaned into this persona so heavily that he frequently introduced himself by his real name. Witnesses and survivors alike recalled a man named Ted who had asked them for help. By presenting himself as a vulnerable, educated peer, Bundy neutralized a victim's defensive instincts. He turned a stranger's willingness to help into a tactical advantage, making their kindness the entry point for his violence. This map shows Bundy fleeing the Pacific Northwest for law school in Utah, extending his crimes into Colorado. In the 1970s, state borders functioned as administrative walls. Without computerized data sharing, red flags in one state remained invisible to police in the next. Even after his arrest in Utah, Bundy exploited the system's reliance on his professional appearance. While facing murder charges in Colorado, he convinced authorities to let him research in the courthouse library without handcuffs. He used that brief moment of trust to jump from a window and escape. This repeated failure to contain him was a byproduct of an institutional trust in his persona. Authorities continued to treat him as a fellow member of the professional class rather than a high-risk fugitive. After a second escape from a Colorado jail, Bundy reached Tallahassee, Florida. There, he committed a brutal assault at the Chi Omega sorority house, killing 2 women and scarring the Florida State University community. Captured in Pensacola weeks later, his 1979 trial in Miami became a watershed moment for the justice system. It was among the first in American history to be fully televised to a national audience. Bundy recognized the reach of the cameras. He acted as his own attorney, using the courtroom as a stage to argue legal points, cross-examine witnesses, and flirt with observers in the gallery. He pushed this spectacle to its limit by using a Florida legal loophole to marry a supporter during the trial proceedings, turning a murder case into a headline-grabbing ceremony. Bundy used the nascent power of televised media to shift the focus from the evidence to his own personality. He moved from manipulating individual victims to manipulating the public's perception of the trial itself. By January 1989, Bundy had exhausted his appeals on Florida's death row. With his execution imminent, he attempted one final act of narrative control. He began trading new confessions for time and granted a final interview to evangelical broadcaster James Dobson. Bundy claimed that his behavior was a result of consuming violent pornography. Modern researchers view this as a strategic effort to shift the responsibility for his crimes onto an external cultural influence, a final attempt to manage his legacy. The narrative ended on January 24, 1989, when Bundy was executed at Florida State Prison. His case highlighted the inadequacy of traditional detective work against mobile, high-functioning predators. In response, the FBI accelerated the development of behavioral profiling to identify patterns that traditional evidence might miss. The Bundy case forced a permanent change in the public consciousness. It proved that the most dangerous figures in society might not look like monsters. They often look like the person you'd most naturally trust.